Welcome back to another video. We are going to continue right where we left off on this thing. So we hooked up some more wires. We're getting closer. Right now I'm working on the exhaust, and I will play that clip for you guys right now. We're gonna go back in time.
We're gonna take he's gonna take the exhaust off of this car because it's the newer design with the flex pipe. Hopefully we can salvage it.
This is the
It's kind of jacked up right there. Look at that.
Yeah. Well, we needed this piece.
What? We need this kind of like thing.
This whole thing, actually. This one's actually more chewed up than we thought.
Yeah, that's good. I thought it was gonna be.
This was in the... And welcome back. This is the exhaust that we are gonna be running. I do want to make some changes to it. I'll probably put like a glass pack in it somewhere later on down the line once I get it bolted up. But this one has that flex piece on it, and it has the other exhaust that came with this car. This piece is actually broken off, this flange, so we need this flex. Someone else put this in. It's kind of rusty in some points, but we're just gonna pretend we didn't see that. And we'll fix that one though. But I'm gonna see if it's gonna bolt up or not. I have a feeling that it's gonna want to hang down because someone on the other car that we got this from, someone put this piece here, which is not factory, probably because it hangs down because of the flex tube. So we're just gonna see what happens. I'm gonna bolt it up to the manifold, and then the only other place I'm gonna be able to bolt it up actually is gonna be back here on the muffler, because the other exhaust had another place to bolt it to the body around here somewhere, but this one doesn't have it. So we'll have to sort of fabricate something. That's no big deal. Once we sort of have the exhaust hung in place and where it's like general area where it's gonna be, then figuring out those little pieces to kind of keep it or get it tucked up, that's no big deal. We can even use that. We can even use this piece if we want to. We have the bracket. We can go look at the other car, and because this piece is actually good, this rubber is still, you know, rubbery. So I'm sure the other bolt's underneath the car in the backyard somewhere else. That's where we're gonna get started today. So we got the exhaust bolted up, and I mean we want to do that because it was so loud. So for the first time I'm gonna see what this car sounds like, what it did back in the 70s with the stock exhaust. I mean, hopefully, we'll see. Ready?
Okay, go ahead. I don't understand why it runs like that.
Must die out. I have to keep pedaling.
Yeah. That's it? Okay, stop.
No fan yet? Fan's not on actually. I don't know if this gauge is actually correct. I mean, that's probably not horrible. We're not up here, so.
Go ahead and turn it off. And then,
Yeah.
I'm gonna ask, what's his name? I'm gonna call Aaron and ask him, when does the fan kick on?
Hey man, we made some progress. It was idling. We got some temperature in it. Thermostat opened up. Started shooting water out of the radiator.
The wrench.
Telling me it's still smoking a little bit, but that's probably fine. It hasn't been driven in a long time. We gotta drive it. And then there's probably still some junk in the gas tank. You know, the gas gets kind of old and a lot of it likes to stick, create like this film. And the new gas will probably eat that stuff up, but it's gonna be continuous into the engine until it's all gone. So we're gonna have to actually put some miles on it, fill it up with some fresh gas, maybe even put like a fuel injector cleaner just to sort of help. Never know, it might help us. So we've been letting the car idle here for a minute or two, or for actually a little while now, and we're constantly checking it with the gun and temperature gun. For some reason it just shut off and now it doesn't want to start,
But the fan turned on.
and also the fan turned on. So I'm gonna try to give it some gas as here we go. It's not running now for some reason.
Alright, let it cool down. Let's see why all of a sudden it doesn't want to start.
It's really weird. It was idling perfectly fine, then it just shut off. Is it a possibility we could be out of gas? Maybe.
I mean,
We didn't put much gas in there. It's a possibility. But the gauge shows that we have gas, but I don't know if I really trust the gauge. And since I just got this gun, I'm not really sure if I even trust it. So just to get some sort of comparison, because like I said, that Honda doesn't have a temperature gauge, like a manual gauge in the car. So I'm here at the Falcon, and we're gonna start it up because this car does have a temperature gauge. So I'm gonna start it up and we're just gonna let this thing kind of run and let it get up to temperature, and we're gonna poke around with the new gun and compare to. It should give me a good general idea. I'll let this thing run, let it get hot, and get up to temperature, and we'll check that gun and see what it says. So I got the car up and running. It's up to temperature, and we are at just under 190. I call that about 180 to 185. And we're over here checking the radiator, and this is where the water goes back into the engine, and it's reading about 182, 181. So I would say that's actually pretty accurate, right? So it is another weekend, and we got some new parts in. We got some brake hoses in, and as you can see too, we got some axles done. I got a grill cleaned up that I'm gonna use. I'm gonna put this one on the car. Got the lenses cleaned. We had to do some wiring on this one, so we snipped the plug off of another one and put it on this car. Oh, we got a new alternator, which is already on, but it still isn't charging. Oh, we're trying to figure that part out. And also, we got some new wheel cylinders in here for the rear drum brakes. And I was able to get my hands on another master cylinder. Very cool. so where we're at right now is we're trying to get the brakes to work on this car. So I got the master on, hooked up the lines, filling with fluid, and right now I'm going around and bleeding the brakes. And unfortunately, I think this master cylinder, I can't think of what it's called right now. I have a new one, but I think we just blew that one apart. So I'm gonna get that thing apart and take a look on the inside. Hopefully the ones that I have are the right ones. So this one definitely let go. Got the pads, got some fluid on the pads. There's a fluid inside the drum. So I'm gonna have to replace this.
Well, we don't have a puller for this thing, so we kind of makeshift pull.
This is what we came up with. Just a chain and 2 lug nuts on the studs. We're gonna try to yank this thing off with a slide hammer.
Here we go.
Hopefully it works.
Might take a few swings. Man, that sucker's on there. Maybe we should looby-dooby that thing or something. Wow, I can't believe it's that tight on there.
Not even moving, huh?
No, it doesn't seem like it moved. You want?
Alright guys, so it is another day and I am doing sort of a bit of an update. So as you saw in the previous clip, we were trying to pull off that rotor with the chain and the slide hammer, and it just wasn't coming off. So we decided to just pull the whole strut and everything out. So that's what we're gonna do. So this is gonna be the rotor we're gonna use. This backing plate here is kind of chewed up, but how does it come off? You got to take this off anyway to get that backing plate out, so I guess it's gonna stay that way. But I'm gonna hit this with a little bit of a sander, get this cleaned up, and then it's gonna go in pretty easy. Okay guys, quick update. We got all 4 tires on, and one thing that we never checked was to see if the transmission was actually full of oil. And we looked in the book to see where the check bolt was, and we took it out. It is this one right here on the side, this one here. And it is kind of a weird bolt. You don't have to pull it all the way out, but I'm just gonna show you guys. You can see that the bolt actually got like a flat cut in it. So I guess you unloosen it a little bit, and if it starts pouring out, then it's full. I've never seen that before. I thought that was cool. And also another thing that we never checked, and we just pulled it off, is that the bolt to fill the transmission with full of fluid is already loose. There we go. So I gotta look to see what I got for oil. See if I have the right oil. Alright, so it's already late. And right now at the moment, I'm just gonna get things kind of cleaned up and situated in here so I can drop the car on the ground and be ready to go for a test drive in the morning. Alright guys, so it is the next day and we got everything all buttoned up. Now it's time to take it for the first test drive. It's way too hot to be doing this. It's like 99 degrees out right now. But we're gonna go around in the backyard, maybe up and down the street once and see what it does. If something goes wrong, we'll find out really quick. Why you do test drives, or at least try to do a test drive. I put my foot all the way down on the clutch and it refuses to go into any gear. Probably the cable needs to be adjusted. I'm pushing it. Clutch is in. Nope. Go ahead. Dumb little car. So I'm in third. I'm in third gear right now. Downshift the second. Alright, well, that's pretty cool. We finally got this thing to run. I think it's like a hydrolock problem. Once everything gets nice and hot and everything's running, then it'll just kind of die and sputter, and then you can turn the key on, fuel pump turns on and everything, and it'll try to start, but then it'll just die out again. Even if you're giving it gas, it'll just die out again. So he thinks it may be a hydrolock problem, or maybe the fuel is getting too hot and it's boiling and it's not running right. I don't know. But that's going to be the end of this video. I want to thank you guys for watching. We still have a bunch of stuff to do on this car. It does run and drive now. Oh, and we also think it's running a little warm. The gauge, the temperature gauge, it goes pretty much all the way up. The temperature gauge will go all the way up. Not all the way to exactly the top, but it'll go about just below, probably about like right there. That's the highest it's got. But then at that point, the fan does turn on, but I'm just not entirely sure. And we checked the gauge because we have that temperature gun, and the gun is saying that it's at like 185 to 190, which I don't know, you guys let me know in the comments if that's a little too hot for this little engine, based on the history I've heard of these things with head gasket problems. But my Falcon, I run the thing at 190 all the time. That's where it lives at, and that's what it likes. But let me know with this thing on what could be a good temperature. Maybe I'll put a regular gauge on it so I can see how hot it's actually getting. It does have a 180 thermostat in it. Maybe I need to put a 160 so it opens sooner. But even at that point, that doesn't make the fan turn on any sooner. So I don't know, we gotta try to figure that out. We gotta see what tells the fan to turn on and what tells the fan what temperature to turn on at, and see if we can change it. So instead of it going on at 185, 190, maybe we can try to make the fan go on at 170, and we'll try to keep it at that 170 to 180 range. You know, try to keep it away from 190. But if 190 is okay for this car, well then I don't see what's wrong with running it at 190. But I don't trust the gauge. I honestly think the gauge is wrong, because it's not blowing out any water, no steam, no nothing like that. But we are having a fuel issue. We're not having an overheating problem. But it does smell a little warm, but it could be normal. We do have some new parts on here that are gonna start to smell a little bit different as they get hot, cold, then it'll just go away. But that's gonna be it for this video. I want to thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.